Good morning, afternoon, and evening. Welcome to Reuzel Live. Today is Monday, April the 10th, 2023. My name is Nicholas Giverson with Reuzel Education. Today, we have a wonderful presentation all the way from Peoria, Illinois. Dexter, Gouge. Take it away, Dexter.
Morning, everybody. Afternoon, depending where you are. Uh, Thank you for joining me again on another Reuzel Live. Today, we're going to be doing a Vanguard haircut. My model has beautiful hair. The Vanguard haircut, we're going to do a little bit different. It's a lot of shear work, but we're still going to taper up the nape area a little bit when we go back and refine the haircut when we're done. So starting out with the haircut, I've already started wetting down my client. Mixed in with my water, as always, is the Reuzel hair tonic. Just provides a great smell, helps break down product that is in the hair. So getting to the haircut, we're going to start off with our baseline, which I've already started setting in because I have a habit of talking and I want to go over time. So to find your baseline, you're basically separating the side hair from the top hair. So if we set our combs in and intersected those, we'd be right at a parting. During this whole haircut, or when you're trying it in your shop at home, take time, make clean partings, and watch how much easier your haircuts come together, easier and cleaner. So throughout this haircut, you'll notice that I will continuously keep wetting the hair down. That will help keep my sections clean. So I start off with this baseline. I'm going to want to pull the hair straight out as we're building a square structure as that builds a masculine shape in the haircut. My model had a haircut not too long ago, so in some areas you probably won't see a ton of hair coming off, but it'll be the same principle. Perfect. So get going here. Most of this haircut, you're just going to need your shears and a comb. So starting out right in the center of the head above the ear, I'm going to lift that hair up. And as I pull out, I have to think about how much hair do I want left to connect my top to? How long do I want my sides, right? As you notice, I'm taking a step each way I move, staying standing square to my haircut. As you're working through haircuts like this with some length, I'm going to be using a diagonal back cutting method. And as you see, I'm constantly combing my hair back as that's the way the hair is going to go. We're grooming the hair as we cut it. So now that I've got a baseline set in there, take a step forward, pull out, so a little bit. Take another step, connecting to the previous cut baseline. As you can see, there's the previous cut. So I'm just going to connect that. Lifting up the hair. All right, now I'm going to jump to my left side and add some moisture to the hair. you guys have watched Reuzel videos before, you've heard Rob do a haircut. He always says, whatever you can do with water, you can do with product. It's such a true statement. As you're going through a longer haircut like this, you can really see them start coming together with just water. So, same thing, starting right above the ear. Now, as I take a step back, I'm just repeating the same process, connecting the previous cut. Notice I'm always pulling the hair straight out my sternum chest area. I'm not elevating the hair up or down, coming straight out. Should have one last little piece back here to connect baseline on both sides, and we're good. Our baseline is now set in. But typically, if we're going to do a fade or run a guard, do some clipper work on the side, I would go ahead and jump into the top. But since this is more of a shear cutting haircut, shear haircut, full haircut, whatever you want to call it, I'm going to go ahead and start connecting the sides down. As I was saying about diagonal back sections. So what we just cut was a horizontal section. Instead of cutting vertical, we're going to aim our fingers on the right side. If you're right-handed, we're going to be pointing more of an L, like up to the ceiling. And that's going to create the movement in this haircut. So our first section, see how nice the hair stays with just some moisture in it. I'm going to be looking up top. We haven't really got into our baseline section yet. You notice my knuckles are tight to his head. So as we cut down, it's going to be giving that tapering effect coming down. Right, sections as clean as possible. So with this section, we're going to see our baseline cut down. And with trying not to cut past my second knuckle there, I'm going to extend my fingers down to remove some more of this hair closer to his ear. Down by his ear, just for my client personally, I know I can go down to about a finger width. So my fingers are tied against his head. And so when I jump over to the other side, that's how I know I'm keeping my haircut extremely close in reference to length. Come up here, another line down. Same thing. I thought this would be a really cool haircut to do today, especially in the area I work in. A few years ago, we were used to seeing all like You know, your days were filled with just bald fades, and which are fine, but now the longer haircuts are starting to come in. More shear work, I think, is necessary for barber stylists to be doing on guys' hair because these long haircuts are coming back into style, and I think it's so cool. Again, you can see the previous cut right there. Combing back. We haven't removed a lot of hair off this side yet, and just from that work, you can already start to see the weight we're building on the baseline, slightly giving that taper effect as we come down. I will continue just working back by doing about an inch away from the previous cut. As you notice, that hair kind of starts to fall there. So I'm gonna give my hair a little bit more water. Same thing. Up from where my baseline was.
Hey, Dexter, we got a question.
Yep.
The question is, how do you determine the length of the hair that you pull towards your sternum, or how do you determine the length of the hair that the baseline is going to be?
That's a great question. And that's a very, I try to explain this as easy and as quick as I can. The baseline is very overthought. It's definitely a technique. Um, but what you're looking at is if I was going to be doing a bald fade and finger length on top, my baseline would not be that long. So what I'm looking for is how long this hair is coming off the side of the head that I can reach my top hair over to, because especially behind the ears, I don't want any disconnection. So I'm keeping a square foundation the whole time as I work around the haircut from putting in my baseline to pulling out the top hair. And as far as measuring or length, like I said, when I was working down around the ear, my fingers are tight to the head. So I know when I can jump to the other side, I put my fingers tight to the head on that side as well. And if you're beginner to this, you can measure with your comb. Some combs have those little dots. Use the teeth. Look in the mirror and pull the hair out on both sides and see if you're even. I hope that helps. Right? Same thing. You notice my hands are not straight vertical as they're pointing. Like I said, you won't see a ton of hair come off on this. And cutting in small, clean sections. I love that I cut this way every day because it's just easier. You can see where you're working. You're not having to hack through a bunch of hair. As we get down behind the ear here, I'm going to bring my section down just a little bit lower to remove some of this. I am going to refine this area, but we're just going to go ahead and remove some bulk. Now my fingers are extremely tight to the head. Looking at the previous cut, you see we have it there, and it gets longer as we come down. Nice clean section once again. As you see, I'm pulling hair from my previous cut up to that so I can see my guideline. I'm constantly combing, so if I have to go back in and look at the section put it back in. It's okay. Look for the previous cut. So you're right on it again. Work on down. And this next section down is where my fingers will start touching the head, the same as I did up in the ear area. Notice my knuckles are tight to the head. Last little bit there. Cool. So as I'm continuously working back, we can start to see how this hair is laying. You can start to see how it's wanting to go backwards. It has a movement in there. All right. Take another section back. So you can see the baseline right there. It can all come off. Awesome. Awesome. So this isn't going to be a short haircut, but as you can see how much length we've removed, because you can start to see as we get back towards the center of the head, how much heavier it gets.
Hey, Dexter, I got a question.
Yes.
How wide are the sections that you're taking for your diagonal back sections?
I'd say about an inch. About a finger width is what I'd say. You can make them smaller or bigger, but I just prefer that it keeps it pretty clean for me. So now I'm going to jump over to the left side. If you're new to this cutting method, this could be a little awkward for the hand position to be in, but I promise you, go do it in the shop. Tell your next client, you know, I'm going to take a little bit longer on this haircut, and you'll be really happy with the outcomes. Again, just add some moisture. Right, so on this next section, it's pretty impossible for me to go like this and cut down, right? So I'm going to be pointing my fingers down now, aiming at the door behind us, but giving that same effect that if my knuckles are pointed up at the ceiling across the room. All right. Again, I just take this first section. We're not really touching the baseline. I just know how he likes it around his ears. And so that's about a finger tight section for me. See how I'm pulling my knuckles up top? Right? So now we'll get in to where our baseline will match. So I start out up top, I'm going to pull out my knuckles until I see the previous cut. Same method. And as I get down closer to the ear, I'm on my fingers tight against the head, connect up to it. All right. And also, feel free to use your shears. I should have mentioned this on the other side. When you're getting into this and you can't see your sections or the hair, or there's too much hair for you, it gets overwhelming. What I'm doing when I'm pulling hair from that previous section, I have a purpose to that. I can lift up the hair with my shears. You can see the previous cut. So that's how I know I'm keeping everything as even as I can. This is where we will start going behind the ear, working down that hair out of the way there. Same thing, my knuckles, measuring for that baseline, look at that previous cut, connect. Same thing when I lift up this hair, as I start coming down, that hair will be tighter. You can already start to see the movement tapering down in the head there. You can see a nice build of weight up there where we created the weight line, baseline, sorry. But in theory, we're creating weight. If anybody today is interested more in learning these methods and wants to go learn some hands-on training with this, Reuzel University is open. We have some awesome classes coming up. Highly recommend you check it out. I have not been able to see it yet myself until later this month, but the facility looks beautiful. To make you clean sections on the side, I told my thumb down where my comb ended, and just take your fine side and flip the hair down. Pull out to the baseline, previous cut. Again. One last little piece down here. Last little section here. All right. As you can see, as I'm combing the hair back, you can see that beautiful movement on the side. In the Vanguard styled haircut, it's not a long fender haircut. We're creating movement, and that's kind of how my client wears his hair. It's very just natural and loose, flowing back. All right. So now we're going to get into our top section. Top half of the hair. Fun stuff. So we had that hair clipped away It's probably a little dry. We'll add some water to it. We're going to section this hair out. So from where we came in with our baseline at the beginning, right? We're talking about that. So as we came straight back, now we're going to come to like the apex of his head, center of his head. We're going to create a nice triangle there, right? Same thing on the other side. That recession where we made the baseline. And save this hair till we have the rest connected, as this is the fun hair. Awesome. That hair out of the way there. One other section we're going to throw in before we start connecting these sides is I'm going to connect the crown area. So to do this on a longer haircut, typically right behind the ear, we can come up and over. Bring that on over. So as you can see, still have some hair back here to remove from folding all this hair down, right? So we're just going to connect that. So we already know we put in our baseline, but it doesn't start getting heavy until after our baseline. So I'm going to make a section over. Straight up off the head. Baseline. Cut. Come down.
Hey, Dexter, just checking in with you.
Yes.
I want to let you know we've got viewers from all over the world today. We've got people tuning in from the US of A, Guatemala, Canada, Indonesia, and a new one for the channel, Myanmar.
Oh, beautiful, man. I appreciate all of you guys are tuning in today. As we're continuing pulling this section over, now it's starting to be a little bit more clear to see. If that first section was a little bit like, oh, I can't see where it's cutting, it's the same principle. As we pull out now, you can see our previous cut. So very little hair is going to start coming off as we get towards the center of the head. A little bit more might come off the back here than up top, but probably, yeah, about nothing. So I've already crossed over into the center of his head, right? So I'm going to go and connect the other side by pulling hair this way, as this is a haircut where everything comes back. Right? Very little. Again, pulling all this hair to me, thinking square during this whole haircut. One last little piece here, see if any of this pulls over.
Another question there, Dexter.
Yes.
So the question is a little more on the personal side. How many years have you been a barber, and how long have you been with the Reuzel Scumbassador program?
I've been a barber for 7 years, and I've been with Reuzel. Well, that is a tough question because a little bit after I got hired on with Reuzel is when COVID happened. So I did not go to Reuzel training until the next year. But I've been with Reuzel a couple of years now. It's been great.
Great answer.
Awesome. So before we get into cutting this top, you can see our weight coming around on both sides, right? So we get into cutting the top, we're going to connect the sides, right? And this is when, if you want to start working on some disconnection, say you want like a sky high pompadour, they just want a lot of length in the front of their hair. This is when you can start working on that with some over direction. But before we do that, as we're still working center of the head area, I just sectioned out kind of a little triangle piece there. Pull up my baseline as I'm pulling straight out. Not too much coming off there. So I'll pull that next little triangle down. As you guys can see, so a little bit, right? As I come forward, this is when I can notice I'm taking a step, an extra step this way, pulling the hair. Just because I'm going to leave a little bit of length there. There wasn't a whole lot to come off though. Same process on this other side here. So we're going to go into the top section here. The fun hair, right? My client generally likes his hair longer, as you can see. This is how he wears his hair every day, so I know there's not a ton coming off. Looking at the previous cut, so we just have just a little bit there we're going to take off. All right. Little. Awesome. We are good there. So we're going to take a center parting just to make sure everything is even. Typically, split the eyebrows, right? So, pull all this hair up, see if there's anything to remove. Very little. Again, we're going to kind of create that ramp effect coming up through his hair. As that will give us more length in the front. Just want to double check, make sure everything's even. Pull it from the side. Work down this other side. Just a little peak right there. Awesome. So we're going to get into some blow drying now. Start seeing this haircut come together. So my client typically, as I've said, he wears his hair very natural. Something you always have to keep in mind when you're choosing products for your client. And with Reuzel, with the whole line we have a hair product for every texture of hair. So today I'm going to use the spray grooming tonic. Just a little, I'd say diluted than our typical grooming tonic. I like it because I'm messy and I spill stuff. So spray just works easier for me. Add a little bit to the hair. So the top is really the last thing we cut, but as far as the sides, the last side I cut was the left. I start cutting on the right, start blow drying on the right, as this hair is already more dry than the opposing side. This hair, I'm going to kind of wait till the end to blow dry. I'm just going to kind of focus on getting our sides moving and drying the crown area before switching sides. I first start blow drying when the hair is a little damp, still a little more wet. I just want to get the hair moving, so I'm just using a vent brush. First, I'm getting that crown dry. All right. And drying these sides. You guys are not using the grooming tonic or the surf tonic on every haircut, you should really start. Every haircut I do during the day has one of the products blow dried into it. It just really creates a nice little hold where you can see your haircut, but you can still go in and do your refinement work. As you can see now, this hair is starting to dry. You can see the movement coming back, but it's still nice and loose. It's not, doesn't have a bunch of product build up in it yet. All right. Pretty dry on that side. I'll jump around. As you notice, I'm drying the back first, working forward. I never want to lay wet hair on top of dry hair. Malfunction here.
While Dexter's troubleshooting, go ahead and let me know what products you want to see him use to style this finished Vanguard look when he gets there. Let me know in that comment box below. And let me know what your favorite product to use is. We definitely want to know what everyone's favorite products in the Reuzel line are.
All right. Nick, can you still hear me?
Yes.
All right, perfect. Sorry about that, everybody. Had a little malfunction with the electrical. Perfect. Still blow drying back. I'll get into drying the rest of his hair on top. You start getting into this area, that's when you can start hitting your cold shot button on your blow dryer. Start locking your hair into place. Still gonna go back and refine this. I just really want to get a look for how my haircut's coming together. Awesome. So my next step, still gonna go around his ears, clean all that up, of course. But I'm gonna go back in now with my blending shears. In some areas of this haircut, there's not gonna be a ton coming off with this. But as you can see, I'm just looking and look for the heavier spots. Go in there and remove a little bit of weight.
Dexter, we got a question about your scissors.
Yes,
What scissors are you using?
the Mizutani Scorum blending shears. And then the straight shears I was using, those are Mizutanis as well. So I just kind of sectioned that out to see how that hair was laying. It's laying very nice on the side there. Come back in. Typically, wherever you see a dark spot like that, when you lift the hair up, the hair's longer. So, wasn't a whole lot to do on that side. As I come to this side, see a few little areas I wanted to find right off the bat. This area looks heavy. It's not going to need a whole lot, especially as we cut this haircut with the way it was going to be moving anyway. You see, that just helps break it up a little bit. So when I'm lifting this hair up, we'll have the camera come around back here. This back looked heavier. You can see right there in the center, we have some hair sticking out. Knock that off with my blenders. one last step I'm going to do with my blending shears. Just pull all the hair up, see if there's anything hanging out. Take care of that. Right. Same process. And my client, he has very just fine, soft hair today. So it would be different if my client had really thick hair, but his hair actually tends to lay very nice.
Hey, Dexter, we got some product recommendations for what people would like to see.
For sure.
Speaking of finer hair, someone says they love the fiber cream. Another person mentioned they like the matte paste and maybe top it with green. So we got a couple different options that would work well with fine hair, but you tell me.
Perfect. Today, we're gonna, I think, go for something a little bit lighter, such as like the matte paste, or the styling or the fiber cream. I'm sorry. I had to warn my client when he walked in here today that we had to add some product to his hair because he's generally just a grooming tonic type of guy. As I'm refining, you notice I'm kind of combing his sideburns out. We don't want to cut these sideburns off or taper them in a lot. This is his look. Cool sideburns are like iconic. So I'm just cleaning that area up, not cutting into his hairline too much. Cleaning everything up. Same thing back there. You notice when I'm doing this outlining, I'm constantly combing hair down just to make sure I get it all. Just remember when you're doing your outlining work, be cautious not to cut into the hairline. So when they come back, you'll really see it. It's never a beautiful thing. Same thing, just combing out the sideburns, any of the stragglers hanging out. Okay, so we've got our outlining done. I'm going to go ahead and taper up the back of his haircut real quick. a clipper over comb, whatever's above that. I just want to give this haircut a nice little taper. We're not going to go up too high. A little bit of a shorter guard. Comb that hair down. Still being cautious as I'm doing this, as I said, just throwing a quick taper. Still taking the same precautions as I would on a normal taper, but I'm really just floating my clipper in, holding it lightly, looking at growth patterns like that. I just don't want to create any new heavy lines in there. Cool. So like I said, I'm going to clip over comb just a little bit of this just to tighten it up, and we'll get into styling. The previous cut, and just work up there. Tighten that area up. As this is just refinement work. So even on a longer haircut, I like to taper everything up a little bit. Sure makes the haircut last a little bit longer. And I'm just pulling the comb out until I see where the hair can no longer reach the comb. Make it real nice. Okay. So I think today his hair is looking pretty nice. We're going to try the fiber cream. I think all the products in the tubes don't get like enough recognition for what they are. The fiber cream and the grooming cream are huge use. I use them a lot. Either one of them, you don't need a lot. Maybe like a pea size ish. You can see how well that goes, how much it start working through the hair, all those little flyaways in the front. And this is just a nice like medium hold. It's very pliable, so throughout the day it won't harden up on my client, and he can rework his hair throughout the day. I go in, pick. He wears his hair pretty loose anyway, as I've said, but just really want to show that natural wave and texture of his hair, working the product through with the pick. Won't pull too bad, and it helps spread that product out. Okay. Just a little topper on top of this for product. Now I am going to add a little bit of the liquid grooming tonic. Just put a little bit in your hand. On this finer hair, just gently rub a nice little layer of the grooming tonic on top. Help keep all those flyaways down. Just make sure your client's staying clean. We'll just clean up his neck area. You can see on that taper I did, it's not a big excessive taper, but we're going into a lot of length of hair. So we just want a nice soft taper. All right. Does anyone have any more questions?
No questions, just lots of praise. People saying beautiful haircut, the cut's perfect, nice job, solid haircut. Overall, very good.
Awesome. I'll be sure to take some pictures of this haircut once this live is over. So be sure to stop by on Reuzel's page or my personal Instagram, the Blue Dog brand, and check out this haircut. As you can see, I love these longer haircuts. It's just such a change from doing fades all day to working with some hair. They're just really pleasing to see come together. Awesome. Well, this is a Vanguard haircut. I hope everyone today learned something, can take it back and use it to the shop this week or even tomorrow.
All right. That haircut looks awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks for tuning in and hanging out with us today. Thank you, Dexter. Thank you, your model. Thanks to your camera person. Thanks for everybody watching and joining us. And please be sure to tune in next time on May 1st for a very special presentation all the way from Lisbon, Portugal. We're going to have International Scumbassador Mabi Mendez. And just a heads up, this presentation on May 1st will be in Portuguese. But as we all know, that barbering and hairdressing is a universal language, and we will see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.